In my last video, I talked about the Airbus, the plane, and what are the materials that they use to make the Airbus. And I told you that the body of the plane is made up of aluminium. And I explained to you why we use aluminium as material scientists and engineer to make an airplane. Here is another material that you might be familiar with, especially if you are from my country where I come from, which is Sierra Leone. This is a ceramic material. This is diamond and insulating material. Okay, so in my country, we have diamonds. But here is the thing. The first thing when we have diamonds, what we tend to do, instead of trying to understand the properties and the structure of these materials, what are the uses of this material? Instead, what we do, we try to sell these diamonds. Here's another example of ceramic material, which is glass. So diamond, glass, poetry, clay, all these are examples of ceramic materials. Here is an example of polymer materials. All these materials you see there are made up of polymers. So with understanding the properties, the structure and properties of all these materials, we can able to make these materials ourselves. So we don't need to export or these materials because we already have the raw materials. All we need is to understand how we can process these materials to give us these materials that we are going to use in our daily lives. This is example of metal materials. This is steel. Here is also another example of steels. So with the understanding of the structure, the properties of steel, we can construct such kind of buildings. So material science and engineering is the backbone of the mechanical or structural engineers. Here also is an example of composite materials. This is made up of clay and water. We all know this. These are bricks. Okay, this is a typical example of composite and ceramic materials. Now let's move to what we call advanced materials. These are materials that we have engineered after studying the natural materials, after studying their structures and properties. So we engineer these type of materials, and these materials we call them advanced materials. So we all might familiar with this image. This is a semiconducting material, a microchip. In every technology that we have today, you can find this inside that material, whether it's a camera, a mobile phone, a computer, a plane, any technological gadget that you have today, you can find this. And this is a typical example of advanced materials. Here you can see it in a more smaller. So that image that I showed you a moment ago, this is the actual image of it in the smaller size, in the complete image of it. So these are just examples of material science and engineering. So with the understanding of material science and engineering, we can able to manufacture and produce these materials all by ourselves. This is an example of a silicon wafer. So we are all familiar with this. This is a computer. You can see here the screen, here is the keyboard, the mouse, and the CPU. All this is made possible as a result of understanding material science. And upon understanding material science, we are able to engineer these materials. Here is also another example that we are all familiar with, and all these are made possible as a result of understanding material science and engineering. Here is also another one that is all over the place right now, right? In all over the world, mobile phone, okay? And this is also as a result of the development of material science and engineering. And finally, in the medical field, these are examples of nanotechnology or biomaterials that we use as medical doctors. All these are made possible as a result of understanding the concept of what we are going to discuss in our lectures here. And finally here, you can see these two scientists, these material scientists here, they are making robots, and all this is made possible as a result of understanding the concept in our material science and engineering lectures. So I believe you have seen enough. These are just reasons why we should study material science and engineering. So upon studying material science and engineering, we can able to process these materials. We can able to study the structures and understanding the properties, and then we can design materials to meet our needs. So join me in my next videos so we can take in details upon understanding the structures and properties of all these materials, all these gadgets, all these technologies that you have seen, right, ranging from the prehistorical era up to where we are right now. So join me in my subsequent videos. Subscribe to my videos, like and share so that we can make this world a better world through the help of material science and engineering. Till then, see you in my next video.